Welcome back to Infinite Podcast, everybody. Today, we're diving into something mind-bending, quantum computing. It's like boosting your computer with a rocket. But here's the twist. This tech might spell trouble for Bitcoin due to its potential to crack current crypto security. Experts are split on when this threat could be real, but it's definitely looming on the horizon. Simon, what's your take?
Oh, quantum computers. They sound like something out of a sci-fi movie where the hero has to save the world before his coffee gets cold. These bad boys could turn Bitcoin security into wet tissue paper. But honestly, Joe, experts always predict doom and gloom. It's coming in 5 years, they say, and 20 years later, we're still waiting. I bet we've got more time before our digital wallets burst into flames.
Simon, that's a classic. But remember, tech moves at ludicrous speed these days. Crypto's whole mantra is security and decentralization. If those go poof, what's left? It's like building a fortress out of sand, right? Plus, let's not forget Murphy's Law. If it can happen, it probably will. Maybe those digital wallets need a fireproof safe after all.
Oh, sure, tech moves fast, but not everything's about cracking codes and bringing down fortresses. Maybe we're looking at this all wrong. Like, what if quantum computing ends up giving Bitcoin a super shield instead of burning it down? Upgrade rather than game over, right? And hey, Murphy's Law? I call it Simon's Law. If there's a way to worry less and have more fun, it will definitely happen.
You've got a point with that positive twist, Simon. It's true, quantum computing isn't just a beast of burden. It could reinforce Bitcoin, make the backbone even stronger. Innovators out there might just flip the script and use this powerhouse tech to forge an unbreakable chain. Panic now seems premature. Embracing and adapting tech advancements? That's our actual super shield. Simon's Law for the win on that one.
Absolutely, Joe. It's about riding the wave, not getting wiped out. Let's harness that quantum beast and keep our crypto castles standing strong. Innovators for the win.
So Simon, in the spirit of innovation and riding the wave, how do you think crypto developers can actually harness this quantum beast to their advantage?
Harnessing it? We've all seen developers turn problems into perks before. Maybe they can use quantum computing's power not just for defense, but to make crypto faster and greener. Instead of sitting ducks waiting for an attack, let's flip the switch, beef up our own walls, and turbocharge the system while we're at it. That's like turning an incoming wrecking ball into a giant disco ball for the best party ever. Imagine that.
Man, that's exactly it. Developers got to jump on this like a trampoline and bounce way higher. If they use quantum computing to speed things up and cut down energy use, we're not just surviving, we're thriving. We've got to innovate our way into the future, ride that wave, light up that disco ball, and keep the party going strong. Now that's what I call evolution at its finest.
Right, so just to add some meat to the bones of this conversation, it's important to understand that Bitcoin and other cryptos rely on something called cryptographic hashes. Dead simple, they're like super complex locks on your digital treasures. But quantum computers could potentially crack these locks way faster than any tech today. Think picking a lock with a toothpick versus a battering ram. And another thing, experts reckon we'd need error correction for quantum computers before they can really mess with crypto. But who's to say that won't happen sooner than expected? It's a game of cat and mouse where both sides constantly one-up each other. Buckle up, it's gonna be a wild ride.
Whoa, hold up. You're telling me our cryptographic locks might as well be tissue paper for quantum computers? That's intense. But hey, the error correction bit, that's the key, right? It's a race against time. Will crypto security evolve first, or will quantum computers smash through those locks? Either way, sounds like we aren't running out of suspense anytime soon when it comes to our digital gold.
Joe, wait a sec. Let's not throw in the towel on crypto so fast. These quantum computers are still like toddlers taking their first steps. Plus, developers aren't just sitting around, they're hustling hard to build the next Fort Knox for our digital gold. I say good luck to any brainiacs thinking they can simply waltz in and crack the code. It's a back and forth tango, and I'm betting on the crypto nerds to keep us in step.
Yeah, sure. Quantum computers are in their diapers now, but toddlers grow up fast, Simon. And these crypto nerds, they're no joke. They eat problems for breakfast and they're cranking out code like crazy. Honestly, I wouldn't put it past them to come up with some wild new algo that'll send quantum hackers packing. It's like MMA for the math-minded. Adapt and overcome. The best defense is a good offense, after all.
No way, really? So you're saying that these crypto wizards are magicking up some fresh security spells that could make quantum hackers tuck tail and run? I'm picturing them slamming energy drinks while typing furiously to save our digital treasures. Man, if they pull this off, it's like a Hail Mary pass in the final seconds of the Super Bowl. Absolutely epic.
Hey, new listeners, you've jumped into an epic chat between Simon and me about the face-off between quantum computing and Bitcoin security. We're unpacking how these mega-powerful computers could potentially unlock cryptocurrency's defenses like they're nothing. But don't fret, the crypto brainiacs are on it, working round the clock to outmaneuver any threats. It's a high-stakes digital chess game, and we're here watching the masters at work. Stay tuned as we keep dissecting this electrifying topic.
Well, you're right about it being a high-stakes game, Joe. But it's not just about whether or not quantum computers will crack the code. Imagine the ripple effect when the first crypto falls. It's not just wallets at risk, it's trust in the whole system. If that trust evaporates faster than a puddle in the Sahara, we could watch the whole Bitcoin house of cards come tumbling down. Now that's a show I'm not eager to see. But hey, if it happens, pass the popcorn, because the aftermath could be just as interesting as the crash.
You're hitting some real talk there. It's not just about the tech, it's that trust factor we've all bought into. Seeing it go up in smoke, that cuts deep. Crypto is a lot of people's baby. Yet, you've got to hand it to this space, Simon. It's resilient. If that house of cards shakes or even takes a hit, watches them rebuild, stronger and smarter. Pass the popcorn? Sure, but I'll be busy taking notes. There'll always be lessons in the rubble.
Wait, what? If crypto's defenses got blown to bits by quantum tech, that's not just a tiny crack in the dam. It's a full-blown flood. The entire Bitcoin empire could be at risk. Trust is the glue holding this digital money world together. And when that trust shatters, boy oh boy, it's going to be chaos central. Imagine that. Markets crashing, people freaking out. But you know what's crazy? It might just be the shock that forces everyone to level up their game, like a wake-up call with an air horn.
Chaos Central might be an understatement, Simon. It'd be like waking up to find out money doesn't exist anymore. But you're right, that kind of shock could lead to a security revolution. Think about it. Every crack is an opening for new growth. Like when the internet first got hit with viruses and we came back with firewalls and antivirus software. So, if everything comes crashing down, what rises from those ashes? That's a future I'm curious to dig into.
Absolutely, Joe. These cracks could lead to growth or a total meltdown. And speaking of rebuilding from the ashes, let's pivot to the one who started it all, Satoshi Nakamoto. His vision for Bitcoin was basically this unbreakable code, a financial fortress of solitude. But what if we get there? Do uncrackable cryptocurrencies lead us to freedom utopia or chaos dystopia, a world where every transaction's under wraps? It's like giving everyone a mask at a masquerade ball. Thrilling anonymity, sure. But does anyone really know who they're dancing with?
Anonymity in finance. It's a double-edged sword, Simon. On one hand, ultimate freedom to spend without Big Brother watching sounds like a dream for privacy buffs. But let's not kid ourselves. A world of completely private transactions can be open season for the shady types too. An unbreakable cryptocurrency could safeguard against surveillance but also invite chaos with zero accountability. The question is, can society handle that level of anonymity, or will it backfire and create a playground for criminals? It's a tough call.
Here's where I'll play devil's advocate, Joe. Imagine complete financial privacy. That doesn't guarantee freedom. Could be closer to anarchy. Sure, no one wants a peeping Tom in their wallets, but think about it. No oversight means Bonnie and Clyde could digitally rob banks without leaving a digital fingerprint. Is that the kind of world we want? Not just a playground, a whole amusement park for criminals. We might be opening Pandora's box with uncrackable codes. Once it's open, good luck putting all that back in.
You've got a point, and it hits hard. It's truly unnerving to think that total financial privacy could potentially mean open season for the world's villains. And yeah, no one likes the idea of living in a society where every crook can cover their tracks with the click of a button. It's like we're teetering on the edge of a cliff here, freedom on one side, pure anarchy on the other. No easy answers, just big, difficult questions about what path we're willing to walk down as a society.
Wait, hang on a second. Are we actually teetering on the edge of that cliff? Because if Satoshi's vision for Bitcoin really means individual freedom clashing with potential anarchy, we've got more than just financial implications on our hands. It's like a full-on ethical brainbuster. Do we want a society where everyone wears a mask? It sounds fun for Halloween, but year-round? It's like giving all the kids in a candy store blindfolds and telling them to play nice. Good luck. But you know, this cryptocurrency conundrum digs deeper into our values. What's worth more to us, absolute privacy or a sense of security in the community? There are no brakes on the crypto train once it leaves Moral Dilemma Station, and I'm not convinced everyone's ready for the ride.
That's exactly the crux of Satoshi's premonition, Simon. It goes beyond the tech. It's philosophical. Absolute privacy weighs heavy against community security. No oversight could spell freedom, yes, but also lawlessness, like giving everyone a mask with no accountability. It's not merely about what blockchain can do. It's about what should be done with it. Do we value privacy so much that we're willing to pay the price of potential chaos? It's not easy math. There's no calculator for moral dilemmas.
Whoa, sounding a bit like a Zen master there, Joe. But here's a curveball for you. Maybe Satoshi's dream was less about creating a privacy paradise and more about challenging the system. It's not just about keeping secrets. It's a test. Do we have the wisdom to handle this kind of power responsibly? Sure, having a digital cloak of invisibility can sound wizardly cool, but it comes with a heavy price tag of potential chaos. There's no undo button on that Pandora's box. And just because we can make an unbreakable code, does that mean we should? It's like handing out lightsabers at a kid's party. Epic idea, disastrous consequences. I'm all for a little secret keeping, but let's not lose our heads or our wallets in the crypto cloud.
Satoshi challenging the system? You could say he was the original disruptor, setting up a game of financial Jenga where everyone's blindfolded. And sure, we don't want to hand out lightsabers at a kid's party, although, let's be real, that'd be one unforgettable birthday bash. But seriously, if we're not ready for unbreakable codes, are we just living on easy mode? Maybe Satoshi wanted us to level up, minus the cheat codes. Either way, brace yourself for Bitcoin. The Dark Souls edition, no respawns allowed.
Hey, fresh listeners, you've dived right into a deep pool of thought with me and Joe simmering in the big question pot, courtesy of Satoshi Nakamoto. It's like this. Imagine a world where our money talks are hush-hush, locked down tight by uncrackable crypto codes. Sure, it sounds cool, no prying eyes on your piggy bank. But what about the dark side, where the bad guys can play hide-and-seek with their loot, no peep from the law? So Satoshi's brainchild, Bitcoin, are we talking ultimate digital freedom or opening the door to chaos central? Join us as we jog through this financial philosophical park.
So Simon, do you feel like Satoshi factored in the darker side of human nature into his vision? Or was it all about pushing for financial freedom no matter what?
You know, Joe, I seriously doubt Satoshi sat down and thought, let's make a playground for all the baddies out there. Nah, his endgame was shaking up the system, throwing the monopoly board in the air because he saw the bank was cheating. Did he think about the con artists? Maybe not enough. But here's the deal. By creating Bitcoin, he forced us to look at the good, bad, and ugly of what it means when money gets stealth mode. Can't deny that tossed us headfirst into some big brain thinking about trust and freedom in the digital age.
Exactly. Satoshi wasn't setting the stage for a villain's carnival. He aimed to democratize money, to snatch it back from potentially unfair gatekeepers. But here's where it gets thorny. When you hand everyone a financial invisibility cloak, trust in systems and institutions might get muddied. It forces us not just to think, but to rethink how society confronts privacy versus security. What Satoshi sparked with Bitcoin has opened a can of worms that require us to dissect trust, freedom, and responsibility at levels we haven't before.
No doubt Satoshi was aiming to stick it to the big finance bullies. But let's flip that coin. What if he underestimated the shadow side of human sneakiness? Here's a kicker. What if Satoshi's whole unbreakable code dream is not just about pushing boundaries, but also about checking our moral compass? We're here dissecting his brainchild like it's a frog in science class. And with Bitcoin giving us the privacy shield, we've got to ask, are we responsible enough to hold that kind of power? Satoshi might have dropped this digital bomb on purpose, making us squirm and wriggle as we figure out whether we're the heroes or villains of our own story.
For those just tuning in, me and Simon have been noodling over Satoshi's vision with Bitcoin. Here's the skinny. It flips the financial system on its head. No one can peek into your wallet. But does that freedom make room for folks with darker agendas? Satoshi might have flung open a Pandora's box, pushing us to ponder, can we trust ourselves and others with ninja-level financial secrecy? It's a full-on ethical workout, testing our moral muscles. And now, we're deep in the thick of it, asking whether we're suited up to handle this kind of power responsibly. Stick around as we keep unraveling this digital mystery quilt.
Absolutely, Joe. Satoshi sure threw us a hot potato with Bitcoin. It's not just unbreakable codes, it's about peeling back layers of trust and privacy in our shiny digital world. Like it or not, we're in the thick of an epic financial revolution where everyone's got to play nice or not under a mask. And that's the million-dollar question. Are we up for this test of invisible integrity? Man, it's going to be one heck of a ride. And hey, thinking of rides, remember when theme parks actually had those freaky fortune-telling machines?
Those old fortune-telling machines, Simon, you drop in a coin and face that moment of hope and dread. Today's investing feels not too far off, like we're all seeking some wisdom from a mystical finance oracle, especially when dealing with Bitcoin's unpredictability. Speaking of predictive mysteries, let's shift gears to something fun, a sneak peek at a Schrödinger-style scenario in crypto. What if we lived in a kooky parallel where quantum computers have both cracked and not cracked Bitcoin's code? Imagine the stock market report in that world.
Oh, Joe, investing in that world would be like throwing darts blindfolded at a moving target. But hey, let's not put our tinfoil hats on just yet. Picture this. Some folks might argue that even with quantum computers playing two sides of the coin, cracked and not cracked, Bitcoin's fundamental value doesn't waver. It's like your crazy Aunt Edna claiming her casserole recipe is solid even if the kitchen's on fire. The devout believers won't flinch. They'll hold on to their bits and bytes like they're golden life rafts, shouting from the rooftops about blockchain's resilience. Meanwhile, the market's doing the cha-cha slide. Chaos or not, some investors are in it for the long haul. Quantum curveball be damned.
Simon, I can already hear the stock market report. Good evening, traders. Welcome to the Quantum Financial Forecast, where Bitcoin's value is simultaneously plummeting and skyrocketing, depending on when you observe it. Imagine that. While some clutch their digital wallets with undying faith in blockchain, others are riding the Schrödinger wave, ready to bail or buy at a moment's notice. And picture this crisis committee meeting at Bitcoin HQ. Half are pulling their hair out, the other half are popping champagne because no decision can be made until someone opens the dang box. You've got traders stuck in a loop, one eye on their quantum-proof bunkers, the other on a Lambo brochure. That's beyond Aunt Edna's kitchen fire. We've reached full-blown circus territory with quantum clowns juggling fiery torches of unpredictability over the heads of investors.
Joe, that stock report's hilarious. It feels like we've stumbled into an investor's version of a carnival funhouse, mirrors everywhere warping reality. Now everyone's a quantum physicist trying to nail jelly to the wall because the rules have flown out the window. And if Bitcoin HQ is our circus ring, brace yourself for the main act, the hodlers versus sellers. One group's meditating on Zen and the art of blockchain maintenance, the others frantically coding quantum resistant on their digital piggy banks with Sharpies. Could you even call that a committee meeting? More like a philosophical brawl with foam swords. To observe or not to observe? That is the question rocking their crypto world. Meanwhile, day traders are split between prepping their Mars colony visas and Googling how to mine Bitcoin with my toaster. It's mayhem wrapped in a riddle, smothered in secret sauce, Joe. Who thought financial advice would come down to a cat in a box, eh?
You're right, Simon. It's as though they think clicking refresh might change the quantum state of their Bitcoin stash. I'd say strap in, folks. It's all hands on deck as we navigate through this crypto comedy or tragedy, depending on when you're tuning in. Buckle up for more ricochets in the quantum realm of finance, because we've only scratched the surface.
Oh man, Joe, you just took me back to this wild roller coaster ride I had at Six Flags. Totally reminds me of this Bitcoin quantum kerfuffle. So there I was, strapped into the quantum loop, this legendary coaster known for its mind-bending twists. The thing about it is, before the ride starts, you never know if you're going to scream from thrill or terror. I'm on this ride with my buddy Rick. Now, Rick's one of those guys. Ice runs through his veins, cool as a cucumber. We're chugging along, climbing higher, and I'm thinking, will I walk off this smiling or green in the face? We crest the top. Everything goes silent for that split second. And bam, we're upside down, inside out, this way and that. I'm laughing. I'm crying. The whole shebang. Off the ride, Rick's unfazed. Talks about grabbing a corn dog like we weren't just tossed around in a giant metal salad spinner. I guess it's kind of like checking your quantum entangled Bitcoin balance. Until you pull up that app, your gut's flipping coins. Am I broke or buying a yacht?
Quantum loop coaster or not, Simon, every investment's got its hold on to your hats moment, and it looks like Bitcoin just turned the whole market into a theme park. Now, who's up for some crypto cotton candy?
You said it, Joe. The market's definitely got that topsy-turvy cotton candy feel. Schrodinger's Bitcoin might be a wild philosophical ride, a bit of a sugar rush with a quantum twist. Speaking of twists, what if this whole scenario is just the universe's way of throwing a pop quiz at us? Are we smart enough to pass, or will we need some extra tutoring in quantum finance? Stay tuned for more crypto coaster adventures, folks.
You're spot on, Simon, with the universe slinging pop quizzes our way. Speaking of being tested, let's pivot to a hot topic that's all about prep work, hacking the future. With this whole quantum wave, cryptos are racing to armor up against potential quantum attacks. Now there's buzz around these underdog companies in the crypto space, hunkering down, crafting quantum-safe blockchains. Some of them are probably coding away in their tech bunkers as we speak. How close are we to actually seeing these quantum shields up and running? Well, for the average Joe investor, it might mean the difference between sticking with your old guard coins or taking a leap into what might just be the Fort Knox of cryptocurrencies.
Joe, let's be real. Quantum-safe cryptos sound like sci-fi on steroids. But if these tech bunker folks actually pull it off, what then? Suddenly your grandma's knitting cryptocurrency could be the next digital Fort Knox? I'm not buying it just yet. Plus, think about the average investor. They're still trying to wrap their head around traditional Bitcoin. Telling them their digital dollars need a quantum-safe upgrade is like saying dogs need hats. Sure, it's cool, but is it necessary? And man, we haven't even seen these quantum boogeymen in action yet. All this panic makes me wonder, are we preparing for an actual storm or just chasing crypto gremlins with a butterfly net?
Cryptocurrency with a quantum twist. That's brand new intel to me, Simon. Knitting grandmas sitting on digital gold mines isn't something you hear every day. But here's the scoop. When it comes to our cyber pockets, might this quantum-safe buzz be less sci-fi and more necessity? It's not just about keeping your crypto coins tucked away from those hypothetical quantum boogeymen. It's about future-proofing your stash. Investors out there are right. They're still getting a handle on regular Bitcoin. Throwing in quantum resistance is a curveball, like going from driving bumper cars to piloting a spaceship. We're talking about folks parking their cash in coins that are tough enough to ghost any quantum hacker's party. The question isn't just if these bunker cryptographers can make it happen, but when. Looks like we've got our antennas up for the next big break in blockchain.
Bet my left sock, Joe. The minute Joe investor hears quantum-safe crypto, it'll be like telling them they've got a seat on the first Mars shuttle. Next thing you know, we'll have folks trading in their lawn flamingos for satellite dishes to catch wind of the next quantum-resistant coin drop.
Just tuning in? Perfect timing. Joe here, with Simon giving you the lowdown on the next frontier of finance, quantum-safe cryptocurrencies. Think of it like folks suiting up their digital ducats in armor, all to dodge this future quantum hacking hullabaloo. While your neighbor's still deciphering regular Bitcoin, companies are busy cooking up crypto that even a quantum computer can't crack. Imagine that. Not just high-tech, but future-tech investments. Stay with us. There's more to unravel on this quantum conundrum.
You bet, Joe. Suiting up your crypto is like playing chess with the future, making moves now so you don't get knocked over by what's coming. These companies in their digital doomsday bunkers aren't just stirring a pot of tech alphabet soup, they're putting pieces in place to make sure when quantum chaos hits, it's their competitors crying into their keyboards, not them. Sure, your neighbor might think his wallet's safe as houses, but if these quantum-safe startups hit pay dirt, we're looking at a whole new ballgame. Investors could be marching their dollars towards the land of quantum-proof coins quicker than you can say blockchain. It's not paranoia if they're really out to hack you, right? So keep those eyes peeled, and let's see who's left standing when the quantum dust settles.
No doubt, Simon, it's a strategic gambit. Dive into the nitty-gritty of quantum computing power and you realize it's no ordinary beast. Able to process immense calculations at breakneck speed, today's encryption could crumble like stale cookies. Now enter the world of quantum-safe crypto. It's an arena where algorithms are beefier, keys are longer, and security models are more complex than anything else in the current crypto market. These aren't your run-of-the-mill cryptos. They're built on post-quantum cryptography, algorithms expected to be resistant to the onslaught of quantum processors. We're talking systems built not just for 2023, but for 2043 and beyond. Companies like PQ Shield and Isara are leading the charge, already partnering with big players to puzzle out this quantum riddle. Think about the first-time investors. This isn't just keeping your digital change under the mattress safe. It's protecting future fortunes, infrastructure, whole economies even. Quantum resistance isn't just a tech trend. It's potentially the savior of financial privacy as we know it. This chess game is less about the next move and more about survival when the rules of the game itself are rewritten by quantum mechanics.
Man, imagining my bank account as a quantum battleground makes my head spin harder than a breakdancer on fast forward. Are we all just pawns in this high-stakes game of tech chess? Next thing you know, we'll need to give our savings accounts a pep talk. Hang in there, dollars. The quantum saviors are on their way.
Totally, Simon. And with folks trying to quantum-proof everything from their piggy banks to national treasuries, the day may come when we're teaching finance security strategies in kindergarten. Kids, today's craft is building your own quantum-safe piggy bank. Don't forget the entanglement module. Buckle up. The future of finance might just be wilder than any sci-fi flick we've seen.
Ha! I can see it now, Joe. Show and tell just got a million times cooler. Picture those camps where they used to teach you how to start fires with twigs. Fast forward, and we're teaching tykes, quantum encryption crafts. Speaking of locking things down, it's like we're living in this massive online escape room, trying to keep one step ahead of the lock-picking robots. And with all this buzz about quantum hacking, it's about time we talk about what's keeping our digital doors bolted, post-quantum cryptography. You know, that's like upgrading from your trusty padlock to some kind of interdimensional deadlock that even quantum geniuses can't pick. Let's dive into that, shall we? How are these newfangled locks going to change the game for everyone plugged into the matrix?
Oh man, Simon, an interdimensional deadlock? Never thought I'd need something like that for my digital life. So let's lay it down for everyone who's still thinking a strong password is the ultimate fortification. First off, quantum computing's a game changer. It works in ways that'll make traditional locks and keys about as useful as a chocolate teapot. Basically, quantum computers do calculus at lightning speed, which could leave our online secrets out in the cold. Now here comes post-quantum cryptography to the rescue. Think of it as the evolution of secret keeping, from simple ciphers used in ancient times up through today's complex algorithms, and now leaping towards these mega-secure, future-proof codes. This quantum-resistant armor is designed to keep pace with the lock-picking robots you mentioned. Imagine shifting gears in terms of security. It isn't just a validation code change on your phone. We're reshaping how online security functions, just in time for this quantum curveball. It's not crafting an escape room anymore. It's constructing a fortress where the treasure stays safe, even when the invaders arrive wielding quantum swords.
Talk about a digital arms race, Joe. It's like setting up the ultimate cage match, quantum computers versus post-quantum algos. Ding ding, let the cryptographical battle royale begin.
You nailed it with arms race, Simon. It's a battle of wits, with stakes higher than a skyscraper. So here's the breakdown. Traditional encryption is based on math problems that are tough for even supercomputers to crack. That's been our digital safety net. But quantum computers laugh at those problems. It's like bringing a bazooka to a knife fight. So the geeks in the proverbial armor-making biz have cooked up these post-quantum algorithms. They use new math puzzles so hard that even quantum machines break a sweat trying to solve them. The cool part? This isn't just theoretical anymore. Companies and governments are testing out these algorithms as we speak, racing to fortify the internet's locks before quantum computers become mainstream bruisers. If they get this right, when quantum computers come knocking, looking to brawl, our online life, bank accounts, emails, the works, stays locked down. Secure behind our post-quantum crypto fortresses, we can keep calmly sipping our coffee, scrolling through memes, invincible to the quantum onslaught.
So basically, while everyone is out there worrying if their selfie's gonna get more likes, the real drama's unfolding backstage with math magicians dueling in secret to keep our digital diaries from getting read aloud by a quantum loudspeaker.
Hey folks, just tuning in? You're catching us at a fascinating moment here on Infinite Podcast. I'm Joe, with my sidekick Simon, and we've been gabbing about this whole quantum computing shindig, stuff so powerful it could turn our current internet security into Swiss cheese. But have no fear, our wizard pals, the cryptographers, are conjuring up some mystical math called post-quantum cryptography. It's the next-gen digital armor keeping your selfies and passwords safer than ever before from those pesky quantum lockpickers. So while you scroll for likes, remember there's a silent war waging in the realm of ones and zeros, a face-off between super-smart computers and even smarter encryption, fighting to keep your online world as snug as a bug in a rug. Stay with us for all things infinitely interesting, in every byte and bit.
Isn't it wild, Joe, that we've got this invisible cyber war going down? I gotta ask, with all these cryptographers churning out this labyrinth of post-quantum code, do you think the average Joe or Jane will need to up their game too? Or is this battle just for the tech titans?
Absolutely wild, Simon. And yeah, I do think as quantum tech slips into the mainstream, we're all going to have to level up. It's not just on the cryptographers. The every person's got to stay sharp too. We'll likely need to learn the ropes of using more sophisticated security measures in our daily digital lives. The beauty and headache of tech is that it keeps us all on our toes. But what I'm pondering now is, when this post-quantum crypto truly kicks in, how will it affect everything from our smartphones to smart homes? Are we going to see a whole new suite of user-friendly tools, or will it be a steep learning curve for average Joes and Janes everywhere?
Joe, that's a brain teaser for sure. Thinking about smart homes and gadgets is one thing, but what about the stuff we want to keep under wraps for the long haul? Like, say you've planted a digital time capsule to be cracked open by your great-great-grandkids, a snapshot of 2023 preserved in bytes. Here's where it gets twisty. With post-quantum crypto, we're throwing down the gauntlet to future quantum whiz kids, telling them, bet you can't crack this code. But should some secrets even stick around that long? Do we have the right to lock up info for keeps, or do all codes deserve an expiration date? It's a whole Pandora's box of ethical brain benders.
You've hit a philosophical vein there, Simon. Encrypting info for the future's like burying treasure with a map so complex, it might outwit every would-be hunter for eternity. or at least that's the intent. But this notion of cryptographic immortality is a head-scratcher. Why lock stuff away if we expect nobody to ever find it? It's like building a maze with no exit. And honestly, should we be playing guardians of knowledge, deciding what secrets future folks can or cannot unlock? Every generation has its own Da Vincis and Einsteins. Think of all the secret messages from history we wish we could read today. Perhaps being too tight-gripped on our data denies future minds the thrill and insight of discovery. We're talking about legacies here. It's critical to balance protecting privacy with the quest for human progression. Plus, let's chew on this. What if our encrypted 2023 snapshots are unearthed in 2223, only to reveal mundane cat videos and memes? Would our cryptic efforts stand as monuments to wisdom, or just relics of digital hoarding? That's the riddle we wrap our heads around when we talk about securing data for posterity with quantum fortresses.
Imagine, Joe, future historians stumbling on our encrypted cat memes, scratching their heads and wondering if cats were our enigmatic overlords. The thought of it, that's history with a twist.
Ha! That's classic, Simon. You'd have these futuristic scholars poring over each pixel trying to decipher the hidden meaning behind Grumpy Cat or Keyboard Cat. Was this their deity? Some sort of high priest? It'd be our digital hieroglyphs. With luck, maybe they'll think we were just super sophisticated and cats were our way of symbolizing deeper truths. Back in 2023, those ancient netizens really had it figured out with their feline fixation. They might even muse if jamming out on a keyboard could have been a form of worship.
Oh, this takes me back to my grandpa's old attic. As a kid, I'd scout through his sea of boxes, looking for hidden treasures. One day, I uncovered this battered box. Inside were letters my grandpa had penned during his Navy days. Totally faded, but you could feel the salty sea stories in them. Decades on, here I was, holding these tales that weren't meant for me, yet they painted this vivid picture of who Grandpa was in his heyday. Each word was like unscrambling code from the past, a time capsule without the lock and key. Makes me think about what pieces of ourselves we're leaving behind for future attic adventurers to uncover, even if those pieces are just digital paws and purrs.
That's a beautiful image, Simon. In a way, by leaving digital traces today, encrypted or not, we're all creating our modern battered boxes for the next generations. Who knows what stories they'll tell about us?
You've got a romantic way of looking at it, Joe. But here's my twist. Aren't we getting a bit presumptuous, thinking our digital chatter will matter centuries down the line? Fast forward a couple hundred years. Will our encrypted emoji legacies really captivate anyone, or just add to the clutter of ancient digital curios that future folk have to sift through? I picture some 23rd century kid finding our timeless secrets and being like, great, more old junk from the 2000s. It's the garage sale paradox. Just because something's encrypted doesn't make it treasure. Maybe the joke's on us, making a fuss encrypting everything, while future humans toss it in their version of the recycle bin without a second thought.
Spot on, Simon. We could be fooling ourselves that our tweets and texts are future treasure instead of tomorrow's trash. But then again, who knows? Maybe there's just something inherently human about wanting to reach across time, hoping someone will find a piece of us, encrypted emojis and all. And the best part, whether it's junk or jackpot, that'll be for those future attic adventurers to decide. So shall we keep spinning the dial on this safe of thoughts, or pivot to the next great unknown waiting to be unraveled?
Yeah, Joe, reaching across time is a noble quest, even with the risk of future folks hitting delete on our digital whispers. Speaking of crossing bridges into the unknown, it reminds me of those early adopters of fancy tech, like quantum computing, who've had their fair share of slip-ups. Take this yarn about these hotshot programmers wrestling with qubits. Those are quantum bits for the layman. They were so jazzed to test out new encryption that they wound up locking themselves out of their own system, the digital equivalent of trapping yourself in a high-tech vault without knowing the combo. Let me set the scene for you. These guys are sweating bullets, trying to remember which qubit went rogue, right? But here's the kicker. They hadn't made a backup key. It's like setting up the most high-tech burglar alarm and remembering everything but the off switch while it wails away. And all for what? To keep some Friday night takeout orders from prying eyes. Folks, as we tiptoe into this quantum wonderland, let's not forget that sometimes the biggest fails spark the heartiest laughs. And luckily for us, even qubits can go rogue in hilarious ways.
Classic rookie mistake with quantum hijinks right there. Man, I can picture it now. A sitcom episode where the Geek Squad's top secret potato salad recipe is Fort Knock behind qubit confusion. Cue laugh track and face palms. All right, adventurers in Audioland, got any tech gaffes that rival locking up your leftovers with Stephen Hawking's brain teaser? Share 'em if you dare, we could all use the chuckle. Or better yet, stick around as we decode more tales from the crypto.
Imagine this, Joe. Your coffee maker decides to become quantum secure. One groggy morning you stumble in and now need quantum physics knowledge just to sip some Java.
Simon, that's a sitcom goldmine. Quantum Joe and the caffeine conundrum. But picture it, your smart coffee pot's got more safeguards than a Swiss bank. Guess you'd need to entangle yourself with some new skills, because in the quantum world, your coffee's state is both ready and not ready until observed. And here's a quick espresso shot of context. Your average qubit operates on principles of superposition and entanglement. Superposition means a qubit can be both 0 and 1 simultaneously, making traditional binary code look like an abacus. And entanglement? That's a weird quantum link where the state of one qubit is connected to another, no matter the distance. It's Einstein's spooky action at a distance. In practical terms, extending this to a coffee maker for encryption? Overkill. Because if quantum tech did go domestic, you'd probably need to authenticate with something like a retina scan just for some morning brew. Imagine a world where you miss your caffeine fix thanks to a system error or entangled qubits on the fritz. Folks would roll up to work, bleary-eyed, blaming quantum mechanics for being late. It's a whole new twist on "my dog ate my homework." On the flip side, it'd be hacker-proof coffee. Talk about exclusive beans.
Whoa, hold up. So you're saying my morning pick-me-up could hinge on quantum states? Like I need to schmooze with Schrodinger's cat just for a cup of joe? Man, the day I have to crack quantum physics before cracking open my eyelids. That's the day I switch back to tea. And if my coffee's both made and not made till I look at it, I'm in for one heck of a caffeine roulette.
Oh, for sure, Simon. Let's not even get me started if that kitty decides it's on a coffee strike. But really, you switch to tea? Nah, I'd first demand a refund on that quantum rig before I ditch the sacred bean juice. Quantum or not, there's gotta be a line. What else will tech try to overcomplicate next? Maybe a fridge that won't open unless you solve a puzzle based on the Heisenberg uncertainty principle. Sorry, kids, no snacks unless you can determine both the velocity and position of an electron. Life's complicated enough without turning breakfast into brain surgery. And imagine troubleshooting with customer support. Have you tried observing your coffee maker from all possible quantum states? No thanks. Some things should just stay simple, like my relationship with my espresso. Keep those qubits in the labs and off my kitchen counter.
Imagine calling customer support, and the first question they ask is your fridge plugged into the quantum realm?
Speaking of quantum realms, Simon, it's not just our kitchen appliances getting the high-tech treatment. The real brainiacs are putting this stuff to work where it counts. I'm talking bank vault-level security here. Actually, that brings us right into the spotlight for today's deep dive session. We've got some special guests who eat qubits for breakfast. These code breakers turned gatekeepers are revolutionizing how we think about cybersecurity. No more riddles to get your morning buzz. These folks want to make sure when you send something as important as, say, your life savings through the digital jungle, it comes out untouched on the other side. So let's zero in on the breakthroughs and headaches these pioneers have encountered while forging these unbreakable codes. They're building the kind of locks that would even keep Schrodinger's cat out. How about that for an upgrade from our quantum coffee conundrum?
Oh, gatekeepers and unbreakable codes? I met a quantum cryptographer once. Told me even they couldn't figure out what their partner wanted for dinner. It's the ultimate unsolvable puzzle, quantum resistant and all.
You're spot on with that one. So, Simon, how do you think these quantum cryptographers balance the line between creating something so secure it can't be hacked and making sure it's still user-friendly for us normal folks who struggle to pick a dinner spot?
They've got to keep it simple. Like the ultimate test. If grandma can send a quantum encrypted email without a hitch, they're golden. If not, back to the drawing board.
Simple, yes, but let's not dumb it down too much. I mean, a system so secure that even the creators get locked out? That's like buying the world's safest car and then realizing you've left the keys inside permanently. So sure, grandma-proof it, but these cryptographers have to strike a balance. If they go overboard on simplicity, it might as well be open season for any hacker with a quantum computer. Why bother with high-stakes encryption if it's going to buckle faster than a cardboard safe? Hear me out. The real test isn't just about grandma's email. It's whether it can keep out everyone else who shouldn't be reading it, while still letting grandma in without a hassle. Let's chat about balancing hardcore security with ease of use before we all need PhDs just to check our inbox.
Right, Joe. You've nailed it. The gold is in the balance. Making things grandma-proof can't mean hacker's playground. These code wizards have to craft a key that's like a glove, fits perfectly for you, but useless for a thief. And balancing that, it's more art than science.
Absolutely. The art of the perfect fit. So how do you see these code artists keeping hackers at bay while still making sure regular Joes and Janes don't need a crash course in quantum mechanics to access their emails or bank accounts?
Reminds me of this time I helped my cousin set up a fancy new app to manage her store's inventory. This thing claimed bulletproof security, fingerprints, retina scans, the whole 9 yards. So day one, we're all hyped. She scanned every part of her body shy of her left kidney to get this set up. Day two, chaos. She can't log in because it's too sunny and the scanner can't read her iris. Customers piling up, she's freaking out, and I'm trying not to laugh. Okay, failing to not laugh. Turns out a post-it with the old password saved us more headaches than Fort Knox security did. Taught us that the fanciest locks only work if you can still open the door when you need to. That's the dance these quantum guys have got to master.
That's wild, man. It's like we're hurtling towards this high-tech future at warp speed, right? But nobody stops to think, what if it's too much tech? You've got top-notch security on an app, then boom, a little sunshine and life grinds to a halt. There's a lesson there. Keep it complex where it counts, sure, but make it so real people can still get their day-to-day done without wrestling with Fort Knox every morning. Because when push comes to shove, and you've got to line out the door, fancy tech loses to a post-it note every time. Classic.
Totally, Joe. We're diving into a world where you need to keep things tighter than a drum, but still user-friendly. We're talking about quantum unbreakable codes here. This stuff is basically the alien tech of cybersecurity. And you want to get it right. Because if your security's too tight, what are you protecting if no one, not even the legit users, can crack it? That's like having a car that only starts if you solve an Einstein riddle first. Cool for a quiz show, not so much for getting to work on time.
Exactly. Quantum security's got to be life-proof, not just thief-proof. You create something even the owner can't access. And what's the point? It's like designing a car that only starts for Einstein. It'll leave everyone else stranded. So the question remains, how do quantum pioneers plan to make this tech work in the real world? Stay tuned as we dive deeper into the quantum gatekeepers.
Speaking of high-tech security, Joe, it's not just quantum encryption that's got people buzzing. Ever think about how we got this whole digital Fort Knox idea? Ah, yeah, it's the granddaddy of them all, the blockchain. This cryptic puzzle started with something they call the Genesis block. And nope, it's not a new gamer tag. Think about it. One block to rule them all, one block to find them, and in digital darkness bind them. Oh wait, that's rings, not blocks. But still, this first block set the stage for everything coming after, the secure transactions, crypto craze, you name it. Security with a capital S, but with transparency too. No sneaky business. Unless you forget your password, then good luck, that thing ain't budging. And let's not forget the mysterious puppet master, Satoshi Nakamoto, the guy, gal, or group that everyone knows about, but nobody really does. What were they thinking dropping this tech bomb on us and ghosting? Can't wait to dig into that.
The Genesis block is a cornerstone of modern crypto, Simon. It's like the opening move in a chess game that spawned an entire financial revolution. Satoshi's motivations? Honestly, it feels like this person, or people, dropped this as a fix to a broken system, a new beginning after that 2008 financial mess. We're talking about redefining trust in transactions, taking power away from central authorities. It was bold, idealistic. But the question lingers, right? Did Satoshi predict the Wild West the crypto world would become? From basement operations to Elon tweeting Dogecoin updates, did they see it coming? Anyhow, whatever Satoshi's reasons were, they left us with quite the legacy. A decentralized ledger now shaping everything from finance to fine art. It's genius, wrapped in enigma, encrypted by, well, blockchain.
Yeah, Satoshi's like the Banksy of finance, drops a masterpiece and vanishes into thin air. And now we've got everyone from tech bros to grandmas painting the town with crypto colors. Wild stuff.
Reminds me of a time back in college. My roommate was this eccentric artist type, always on about leaving a mark without getting caught up in fame. One night, we made this huge mural on the campus library wall. It was epic, a big, colorful phoenix kind of deal. We finished, and he just walks away, never even signed it. It became legendary on campus. People debated who did it, what it meant. That artwork started a trend, everyone adding their own pieces all around campus. Like Satoshi, my roommate sparked something bigger than himself without sticking around for the credits. Now, whenever I think about Bitcoin's anonymous start, it's like that mural, setting off change, raising questions, all with no clear origin story. Who started it matters less than how it's now its own beast, much like the blockchain reverberating through every corner of our digital lives.
Satoshi really painted the mother of all murals with blockchain, huh? Started a decentralized renaissance, no signature needed, just epic impact.
Absolutely. Satoshi sparked a digital renaissance, and now we're all living in the world this faceless maestro envisioned, without leaving a trace. It's like tagging the internet with revolutionary tech.
That's just it, Joe. A tech tag slapped on the digital universe without even a cheeky wink. The Genesis block was like kicking off an epic game of financial hot potato. And what's more mind-blowing, Satoshi ditched before anyone could say thanks or hurl questions when stuff inevitably got weird. Game changer move, right? But as for knowing all the whys and hows, gonna need a Ouija board for that one.
Right? Satoshi leaves us guessing. So if you could get one question answered by the ghost of Satoshi, what's the burning question you'd ask our mysterious blockchain architect?
I'd hit up Satoshi and ask, hey, did you really think this crypto craze was going to explode like a piñata at a birthday bash, or were you just throwing code at the wall to see what sticks? Because let's face it, Joe, that first block wasn't just a line of code. It was the first domino in one heck of a complex setup.
Come on, a line of code? That's underselling it. This wasn't just some fluke. Satoshi engineered the Genesis block with intense precision. It's like saying the Wright brothers were just tossing paper planes and accidentally invented the airplane. No way this was a wild throw. They launched a secure transaction revolution, but left before the party even started. Now, you've got folks who can't spell blockchain investing in it, all thanks to that first domino. But really, what I'd ask Satoshi is not if they knew it would explode, but did they ever imagine their creation fueling everything from meme coins to NFTs? Did they envision grandmas talking Bitcoin over bingo? That's the wildfire I'm curious about.
Impacting grannies at bingo was probably not on Satoshi's bingo card, but it's bonkers to think how that one block kindled a fire under so many chairs. Makes you wonder what other surprise fireworks might be hidden in those early blockchain days, just waiting for the next wind to whip them up. What do you reckon, Joe?
Speaking of hidden fireworks, Simon, this brings us right to smart contracts. They're meant to be the self-operating agreements that automatically execute when conditions are met. More of that blockchain magic at play. But here's the million-dollar question. Are they streamlining the deal-making process or just setting us up for a real headache? Because, sure, they cut out middlemen, which is great. But when you replace lawyers and notaries with code, Any bug or oversight doesn't just complicate things, it can derail entire investments. Take the Deo hack, where millions were siphoned off due to smart contract vulnerabilities. So yeah, automated, definitely. Foolproof, not so much.
So, considering all that, Joe, would you say the juice is worth the squeeze with smart contracts, or are we just opening Pandora's blockchain box of bugs and blunders here?
Well, Simon, Pandora's blockchain box might be a stretch, but let's just say I'm cautiously optimistic. Smart contracts hold massive potential for efficiency and transparency, but the juice, it's worth it if we can ensure that smart contracts are as smart as they claim to be, bug-free and foolproof. Now the squeeze, that's the challenge. The more complex the contract, the greater the risk of something going haywire. It's about finding that balance, leveraging the automation without falling into an abyss of overcomplication. So yeah, I say the concept is pure gold, but only if executed with surgical precision. It's no use cutting-edge tech if you end up needing stitches afterward.
Surgical precision? More like we're playing Operation with a chainsaw sometimes, Joe. Everybody's all gung-ho about efficiency until their digital wallet gets zapped by a rogue line of code in a so-called smart contract. Sure, the concept's dripping with potential, but if it's a choice between hiring a lawyer or crossing my fingers that the smart contract won't glitch and send my crypto into the abyss, I might keep my lawyer on speed dial. It's like setting up a fireworks show and not bothering to check if you're pointing them at the crowd. Kaboom, indeed.
Man, Simon, I hear you loud and clear. It's one thing to dream about a tightly run world where contracts self-execute flawlessly, but it's another to wake up to reality. When that kaboom hits someone's wallet, that's their hard-earned money going up in smoke, and that sting is real. The teeth-grinding angst of watching a smart contract bug play havoc with your assets is no joke. Until we iron out these creases, using the crowd analogy, I agree, keep the fireworks pointed away, and maybe don't ditch the safety net just yet.
Absolutely. Reality check. Smart contracts might be snazzy on paper, but they can turn into a real Chucky situation when left to their own devices. Who needs horror movies when you have code going rogue, right? Sure, some folks dream of a utopia where contracts self-execute with the grace of an ice skater. But in the meantime, we're still clunking around in those little metal skate helpers, hoping we don't crash into the wall. I say, ease off the gas on the smart contract hype train until it's proven it won't derail and spill everyone's crypto coins all over the tracks. We're not quite there yet. Safety nets are still the name of the game. What do you think, Joe? Can we really trust these digital deal makers, or should we keep them in the playpen a little longer?
Absolutely, Simon. It's not all doomsday scenarios, but there's no denying smart contracts are like toddlers, tons of potential, yet can cause chaos if left unattended. Their ability to execute deals without human intervention relies on the if-then premise, embedded within a blockchain, are a work in progress. Take Ethereum, for instance. It's the granddaddy platform for these smart contracts, and it popularized the concept with its programming language, Solidity. The amount of development and resources pouring into making them safer and more user-friendly is substantial, showing the commitment to smoothen out those rough edges. Moreover, we've got robust testing frameworks and security audits becoming standard practice for smart contract deployment to prevent those Chucky situations you mentioned. In industries like real estate or supply chain management, they're already reducing errors and fraud, which cannot be overstated. The text caveat does remain, though. Code is law in the world of smart contracts. So any oversight isn't just an oops moment. It can equate to substantial financial loss. Hence the growing industry of smart contract insurance. Further proof that while smart contracts have measurable benefits, we're acknowledging the risks rather than marching blindly forward. Keeping them in the proverbial playpen seems wise until maturity is undoubtedly reached.
Totally. It's like we're strapping a jetpack to a turtle with these smart contracts, Joe. Sure, it's going to go faster and look insanely cool doing it, but does the turtle know how to handle the thrust? Or are we just setting up for an epic crash in slow motion? It's thrilling and terrifying all at once.
That's the million-dollar image, Simon, a turbocharged turtle careening through the skies. Thrilling innovation comes with spectacular risks. Do we let it fly or keep it grounded? It's not just about pushing the limits, but knowing when to reel them back in for a controlled landing.
Are we saying then that while smart contracts have the chance to soar, being too gung-ho might just lead to one shell of a tumble? What's your take on when it's time to let the turtle fly, Joe?
Precisely, Simon. It's all about achieving that critical balance. We can't be reckless with innovation, especially when people's assets are at stake. The turtle, our smart contract tech, needs fully functional jetpacks, meaning reliable and secure code, before we give it a runway. A staged rollout seems sensible. Think of it like flight school for our turbo turtle. Start with smaller, controllable environments and transactions, learning from each test run, tweaking and improving. As confidence in the technology grows and it proves capable of smooth landings, then we incrementally increase complexity and scale. The ultimate goal is for smart contracts to become so trustworthy and user-friendly that letting them fly feels as routine as driving a car. But until reaching that level of proficiency and safety, staying cautious is the smart move. No one wants to clean up after a high-speed turtle crash.
Couldn't agree more, Joe. Turtle Flight School sounds like a plan. Small steps to avoid a turtle disaster movie. Let's hope for more Top Gun and less Michael Bay Explosion Fest.
Funny you mention Explosion Fest, Simon. Reminds me of when I tried my hand at DIY car repairs. Armed with a set of tools and YouTube tutorials, I was confident I'd replace my brakes, no sweat. So there I am, 2 hours in, parts scattered everywhere, thinking I'm nailing it. But when push came to shove, literally, the car wouldn't stop pushing or shoving. Brakes, worse off than when I started. My confidence resulted in an expensive tow and professional repair. The moral? Just like complex smart contracts on the blockchain, overconfidence in our ability to handle intricate systems without proper expertise can lead to failure and teach us some humility. Better safe and slow, bringing in the experts instead of creating our own Michael Bay-esque mess.
I feel you on that DIY disaster, Joe. It's like smart contracts are the brakes of blockchain. If you don't know what you're doing, it's a crash waiting to happen. Too much automation without understanding? Recipe for chaos. Maybe the key is respecting complexity and treading carefully, right? But hey, do you think there's a world where everyone can tinker with them safely, or are we just dreaming too big?
Absolutely. Respecting the complexity and proceeding with caution is key. Just like DIYs gone wrong can be entertaining in retrospect, the blockchain world has its fair share of epic flubs that serve as both comic relief and cautionary tales. Speaking of chaos, let's take a moment to chuckle at some laughable blockchain blunders. Like that time someone accidentally locked up millions in Ethereum with a bug. Talk about an expensive oops moment. It's equal parts hilarious and facepalm worthy when digital fortunes hang on a misplaced keystroke. Got any favorites, Simon?
Oh man, Joe, I've got a classic. Remember the guy who made the Decentralized Autonomous Organization, aka the DAO? Wanted to revolutionize funding. Instead, he opened a buffet for hackers. One small bug, and suddenly it's an all-you-can-eat Ethereum fest. It's like baking a pie, forgetting it on the windowsill,